Hi, my name is Aaron Hamilton. I am the Director of One Stop Student Services and the Building Coordinator for the Shocker Success Center at Wichita State. And I am here with my colleagues, Anita Barrett.
And Jennifer Dines.
Yes. So we are here to talk to you today about Team Dynamix, TDX for short. How many TDX users are there in the room? Oh, good. That's what we wanted to see. Okay. So hopefully this will be helpful for you. We'll give you a little background on why I'm here, because I'm not normally a part of the IT world, but I relied on their help for the last year working on this project. So if we go to the first slide. So basically what we did, and Anita will talk about it from a project management standpoint, but my office, we had basically 2 months where a vendor said, hey, we're no longer supporting this service. We need to switch to something new. So we needed something fast, something reliable, something the university already had, and something that would meet our needs. So overall, the results were fantastic. So Anita's team, they delivered the value that we needed. The whole thing was student-centered. So my office, One Stop, I got a slide coming up in a minute. I'll go into more detail, but every interaction we have, it's all students, just all students all day, every day. 35 to 40,000 tickets we get a year that we're now running through Team Dynamix. So I'm really excited about that. We balance competing needs. We've got 14 groups in my instance of Team Dynamix. So we've got our own portal that's separate from the IT portal. And we got 14 groups that all have different ways of working and different ways of answering questions, responding to the way they route tickets, and we were able to take care of that. I saved a bunch of money, so I was paying $55,000 a year for licenses in our previous vendor, and this year paying about $30,000 less for the tickets that we have now. Yeah, so we saved money, which was good, and again, we focused on the value and really the student perspective throughout all of this, because all of the tickets that we handle through TDX in my shop are now, they're all student facing. So we did that, and how we're going to talk to you about that, I'll explain One Stop. Anita's going to talk about the project and the client portal. Jennifer's going to talk tickets, and then we've got time for questions, and we'll go ahead and jump to the next one. So my office, if you look closely, this is my team, including Kylie. My assistant director wasn't there that day, so we made her Teams in, and we had her on the phone for the picture. So we provide 24/7 live support for students. So if a student works at a restaurant or a bar, they get off at 2 o'clock, they're like, why do I have this $30 fee? They can actually call and talk to a person on our end. We do live chat, we do phone. I mentioned earlier, but we do 35 to 40,000 interactions a year. We have a ticket for every single one of them, and that's all recorded. We try to do personalized service. We've got our in-person assistant. So we've got our office. You know, that's just part of it. There's actually space. It looks like we're crammed in there, but we're not. And then we also do enrollment outreach on behalf of the university. So right now I've got 17 tickets. The company that we work with is making outbound calls for us, and those tickets are coming in, and we're working those as well. So as they're reaching out, it's students coming in, it's reaching out to students. There's a lot of interaction. The other thing that I don't have listed up there, my office also oversees first-year advising. So the incoming freshmen, stop-out students, and first-time in college international students all come through our office too. That's a separate section, separate app that we work with. Anybody have Navigate? I think we all have Navigate, right? Most of us. So we use that for the advising piece. Go ahead, Jennifer. So why did we go with Team Dynamix? Part of it, I mentioned earlier, we had 2 months, 6 weeks. It was a very short time frame. And Anita will go into the details of how that all came about. But I have so many more options now in Team Dynamix from my end in terms of reporting, the flexibility. It's a much more robust product than we had before, and I'm saving a ton of money using it. So I'm really excited. We stood up our knowledge base, and then we just got our tickets going, so we're working at the bugs there, but I think once we get those going, I'm going to be able to do some really cool things. And in tight budget times, I have access to much better reporting where I can go to the administration and say, this is what we're doing, this is how much we're spending, this is a return you're getting on your investment from One Stop. So I'm really excited to be able to advance to that stage. Standardizing support processes, so I had to work with those 14 different offices, admissions, financial aid, student accounts, all of those to standardize how we work in Team Dynamics, which has been a good thing. There were some long conversations, but in the end, it's working out. And this bullet about reporting, I can't tell you how excited I am about that. Like I think about it all the time. I just need time to get in there and keep playing with it. So at the table, Jennifer and I, at lunch, we were building a report in there. So that the opportunity to scale our opportunities. What I mean by that is, like, we work with the graduate school, we work with parking, we work with a lot of departments, but there's some things we could do with college advisors, there's some things we could do with other departments that I'm hoping to grow into over time as we get established. So with that, I will turn it over to Anita.
Thanks, Aaron. So, you know how it kind of works out there. They're busy trying to figure it out. They get some bad news, whatever. Here's the PMO just kind of sneaking along, right? And so I literally had 5 weeks. So when I looked at this, we had to spin it up fast. And the best way to do that is just break it down into big deliverables, right? So it seemed like the most pressing need, and I wanted to focus really hard on that, was the client portal. So when we did that, we said, okay, we're going to do phase 1. It's going to be the client portal, and then we'll do the ticketing phase 2. Little did we know that the vendor would stretch it out, so we literally just went live with ticketing the second half. So I am so glad that we kind of said phase 1 is this, let's get the portal up and going. So if you look at this next one, can you do one more click? So it was way more than a list of deliverables. Go ahead. We really had to focus on what worked for the customer, our students. Okay. So what's available, right? That's the first thing you go, what do we have that's available? Fortunately, we had 3 Team Dynamics admins and a very talented student worker who less than 2 years before, so we hired him as a freshman. By his sophomore year, he helped us redo our portal. This is the portal that we used for the first 10 groups, 12 groups that adopted Team Dynamics across. So we've had Team Dynamics for 10 years. So he had updated all this, and we were a project group, so we had a little bit of capacity, and we leaped in there. So it was, when you look at this, there were some things that he liked right away when Aaron saw it, but there were some things that he didn't. So we're going to get to that because it really was about what the customer needed. So we had to pick an approach that would work in 5 weeks. So we had a fixed time periods, I think, of 2 weeks. So we went and just, first of all, made a copy, a fresh copy, right colors, and we went ahead and looked at where's the rest of the work. Well, the big part of the work wasn't just the portal, but it was all those articles that were stuck in the old vendor system. They couldn't touch, they couldn't update. When we asked for it and they gave us a copy, all the long articles were truncated. Yeah, so what we figured out was it was easier just to copy paste. The tool, Team Dynamics, is very easy to write articles. Most of you have probably done that. So they also had student workers, thank goodness. Several of them. You had about 3 or 4, didn't you? Yep. Yeah. And they just took it to heart, and they just started copy pasting, and it just literally in about 4 weeks, they had them all done. So the other really nice thing that Aaron found out now that he was in control was he could have his own articles. So when anybody asked them, their department, a question, they had one truth. They had an article written for them. So they never had articles for their staff before. So that was really nice too. So we got the components up, and you'll see that just like normally you got the search bar up at the corner, we also wanted a search right under the ribbon because that's what they were used to. That's what the students were used to. So you'll notice that we've got 2 long ones, and then this is a long one. It was quite a trick to get a big old picture in there, but that's kind of what students expect. You know, they want to see other friendly students, right? So that, and then these are actually 2 columns. We actually ended up reaching out to the Resource Media Center to help us with like Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, the icons across there that worked out. I will say that our WooShock is licensed by athletics, so don't ever just grab your mascot and throw it willy-nilly onto a website, right? That's not cool. So we did get permission to use him, and then we got the contact information on there. So if you click it once more, you're going to see a little icon that pops up down here. See this little thing? That's still the vendor's chatbot. We didn't have a chatbot, but we were able, with a little bit of help and some extra coding, we were able to put that on Team Dynamix. And we branded it as well. So if you click on it, it'll open up with the black and gold colors. All right? Yes, absolutely.
So that bot, students can start a conversation there, and it'll look just at our, sorry. Students can start a conversation with the bot, and it'll look just at our knowledge base. But once it reaches a certain point, they put in any kind of FERPA information, it escalates to the company that we work with. They're called Encora, and a live agent takes it from there, and not an agent like a bot, but a person. We just call them agents. So that bot or that chat is on our site. It belongs to them. It escalates to them, and then sometimes those chats will come to us as a ticket, full circle through Team Dynamix.
That's great. So there were a lot of benefits. I mean, you can kind of look down through here. Real-time updates. They didn't have to wait for the vendor to do it when it fit there. We actually are going to have Jennifer show you a little bit about Google Analytics for the metrics. A lot of data. People are clicking around on our site. We never had that information like that before. And then we could log who worked on that article, when it was last updated, and we could even turn it on so it reminded us for next semester to update it for the next time period. So those were pluses that they didn't have before. So I'm going to turn this over to Jennifer. Do you want to come up here, or do you want to?
Stay here.
Okay.
Okay, if I sit with everyone? Okay, let's get into the ticketing app. So the TDX setup, we started it months ago. Our deadline to get started kept getting pushed and pushed and pushed. So this was not an easy 10-week or 4-week deal. I would say 8 months ago is when I created the forms and such. The preparation included adding users and groups. There were approximately 100 one-step users that Aaron wanted to add, and as he had mentioned, 14 different groups that we had to account for. We created 2 ticketing forms, the one-stop case, which is general one-stop questions, whether it be parking or admissions, FinOps, and then a Blackboard support ticket all of its own, so that it routes to the correct people. We created custom attributes, 38 in total with 130 choices, and then the workflows. And I just wanted to lay it out here because this was not a one-day task. This took a few weeks to finally get it created. One thing we wanted to do with the form, and I did quite a bit of analysis, is I used SmartView, their old system, and did some analysis because we wanted the look and feel of their form to be as close to what they're used to as possible to reduce the learning curve. Anytime you move to a new application, you know that can be tricky. All right. So one thing that we did is we are using Team Dynamix's built-in open API to transfer the tickets. So this was a lot of work as well. We had to map every attribute as well as every attribute choice. So as I had mentioned before, we mirrored the Smart View form as close as we could so that if it said admissions undergraduate domestic, they knew that that was the option. And we had to do row by row by row to do that. Then we did some testing, the ticket creations with the API. And I do want to say, if anyone has upcoming work with Ancora, they were fantastic. Their developer and the BAs and project managers, they were very responsive and they made the transition very easy. If we had questions or problems, they were fixed within a couple of hours, most of the time. So we tested new ticket creation as well as ticket updates using that API. And full disclosure, this is the first time that we had worked with the API and Team Dynamix. So it was nice.
The interesting part about that is that the agent sitting there talking with the student, they're entering it into their AWS, and when they hit the tickets closed, it still comes over to us, or it's open, it still comes over to us, but it's like instant. They don't keep it on their site. It's only on in our Team Dynamics database. So there's not two copies. There's only one copy of the ticket.
So here are some of the ticketing app benefits that I wanted to list, and I'm going to demo this so everyone can see it. Personalized dashboards, that's something new that Erin's team didn't have before. In SmartView, you went to the SmartView page and there were filters where you could go in and manually filter and refresh to see the tickets assigned to a specific group or team. And their Team Dynamics allows you to set that up with auto refresh enabled. So if they go to their dashboard, they can see every ticket that's assigned to them without having to mess with filters and such. Email notifications. We've set up workflow, which I'll show as well, as to where it notifies only the team that the ticket's assigned to. Better audience segmentation, that's done with dashboards. I'm going to point that out. Again, robust reporting capabilities for both KB articles and tickets. Now, with the KB articles and the portal, we are utilizing Google Analytics, and I think it's amazing what Google Analytics can do. Reduction in systems and duplicating licensing costs. A lot of the teams and groups that Erin works with already were familiar with Team Dynamix. They've been using it for years because that's the Wichita State University's ticketing application. So they were able to say, oh, here's our ticketing app for One Stop, and they were off to the races. It was amazing. And then better support for evolving business needs. As you all know, I mean, you can add a field to a form. You can make changes to the portal if you're a TDX admin in a matter of minutes. So if he gets a new group, we can just add that real quick, add to the workflow, and he's in business. Moving right along. Here's Google Analytics, and I have some screenshots, and as long as we don't run out of time, we can go into Google Analytics in case some of you haven't seen it. But this is great. We use Google Analytics for our monthly metrics. So it allows you to view demographical information, how many times an article has been visited, or how many times a keyword has been searched. And it's all graphical. How many people from each city You can have daily, monthly, or annual reports. It's all very customizable, and it's pretty awesome. All right, let's look at one more slide, it looks like. Thank you. Let me get into the demo. Are there any questions before we go on? All right.
The cost you mentioned earlier, is that for the extra portal or just extra number of users?
That was just for user licenses.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. As Anita had pointed out, and I do want to show this, this is the chatbot icon down in the lower right, and it was color-coded, branded. That's the word I was looking for.
They're not.
Oh, how are you not seeing it? Oh, well, let me, thank you. Let me just end slideshow. All right, thanks. So this is our portal. And as Anita mentioned, this is the chatbot. And it was branded with Encora's branding. I think it was blue and stuff. We were able to go in and change the branding to match Wichita State University. The chatbot is only on the One Stop portal. We have two portals, one for Wichita State University and one that's specific to One Stop. And the reason that we did that is because the One Stop is very public facing. You could be a parent, a grandparent, a prospective student, and go to One Stop and ask Erin's team any question that they wanted to, as to where the Wichita State site, we do have some public areas, but a lot of it you have to be logged in to submit tickets and such. Do you have anything else you want to add, Anita, for this?
I don't think so. I think there's the popular articles that is a nice feature that, you know, students read down through there. If you click on the tabs, the number one article that's asked for is the calendar. So the academic year, what does that look like? And then all the different hot links. You know, I want to go to Blackboard. Boom, there they go. You know, so those are the wide yellow bars that are across there as well. So, yeah, it's 100% separate application from the one that we use for our IPS ticketing system.
All right, let's move on to tickets, unless there was something else you wanted to discuss. All right. So I want to start with the form. Let's look at the form, because I think once I show you our form, we can kind of move into dashboards and the advantages that Erin's team has now that he hadn't before, and point those out. So our one-stop case, as I'd mentioned, we have a one-stop case and we have Blackboard support. The one-stop case, because it's for general questions, there's a lot more to it. So I'm going to work with this one, and if anyone wants to see the Blackboard support form, holler at me, and I would be more than happy to show that. So I'm not going to go through every field here, but a lot of these are required and they are custom attributes that we created. And as I had mentioned, this is based off of the form that they were using prior to converting to Team Dynamix. The request field here, this is the key identifier of the ticket. We have every department, the 14 departments or groups listed in here, and depending on which option the student, staff, faculty, agent, whoever is using to create this ticket selects, this is how the routing works. So if they select graduate school, this will email our graduate school department. And the request type, it changes based off of the request that is selected. So just showing a little bit of that. We do have other dynamic fields. I selected financial aid. So as you can see, aid year, that's an important field that they use regularly if they're talking financial aid. Financial aid advisor would have it readily available in both the email that they receive once the ticket's created, as well as on the ticket itself. Once this ticket is saved and submitted, that is when the email is sent to the team. And it's nice because if the agent is busy, they can just respond to the email and it sends the student and an email and updates the ticket. There's no finding the ticket, going into the ticket and moving on with that. I want to just point out a couple of things with the workflow. This is our case workflow, and as you can see, it's ginormous, for lack of better terms. It's what this does is it says, okay, the ticket is not closed, so let's move on with the workflow. Is this ticket case tuition fees and payments? If yes, then what we're going to do is notify tuition fees and payments. If not, we're routing to financial aid. And it goes all the way through everything until it's done. Did I miss anything, Anita?
I don't think so. Are there questions? How many of you guys are Team Dynamics administrators? All right, yeah.
So you all know what I'm talking about.
We're happy to get into the technical under the hood things if anybody wants to do that in another setting.
Absolutely. Was that a question?
Go ahead.
Okay.
For the department, it'll come, are you talking about like we have like one stop and then there's one stop financial aid, one stop financial operations?
It was on the calls,
Oh, back on the board.
in Dynamics, you got a breakdown of the department, so I think that was one way. We're doing something like that.
Oh. Where is, oh, there it is. Great question. This is auto-populated, and I don't know why I clicked on the magnifying glass, sorry about that. The department is populated based off of the requester. So we will input the requester's name if it's a student or someone who's currently in Team Dynamics. If it's not a current individual that's in Team Dynamics, they've not migrated over once they've registered at Wichita State, we use a default or generic user. And what happens is that's where the WSU ID, primary email, and alternate email come into play. Now, if it is a generic user that's sent over through the API, the comment section or the feed, case details in this case, will include the requester's name, the phone number, the email address, contact information, and what their question is. So, and that's a really easy way for Aaron's team to say, hey, this person's never called in. Let's pull up their information. Let's give them a call. Make it priority. Anything to add, Aaron?
I was just going to add the reason for that in the default information is we get calls from parents and grandparents. We take phone calls for parking. So like if somebody gets a ticket during a basketball game, they're not in Team Dynamics yet. So that's why we went this route.
I have just a quick thing that the agents can do is they can just put in their identification number, and then it'll automatically populate all these fields with their name, their, whether they're a student, all the way down, alternate email addresses and all that automatically populate. So I know that the 90-some people that are getting this, they're really excited to see all that filled out for them before they get the ticket.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Sorry if you already talked about it, I missed it, but what is the Smart View and how does that?
Oh, Smart View, okay, so what happened was April 4th, 2025, Anthology was a company that we worked with, and before that they were Blackboard, and I don't know what they were before that. Now they're called Encora. Anthology came to us and said, we're selling this. You have until July 1st to move the knowledge base and the portal, basically. And you have until September 15th to do ticketing, which that's the one that kept getting kicked down the road. So initially we thought, oh my gosh, we don't have much time to do this. What was your question? Smart View. Okay. Anthology, that's what we've been doing tickets in since 2014. It's called Smart View. It's homegrown on their end. Yes, it was homegrown on their end.
So are you still taking tickets in Smart View and then transferring it into Team Dynamics, or?
No, they transitioned out of Smart View to Amazon Web Services, and now they'll make a ticket in AWS, send it to us, and those are the ones that they don't keep the ticket anymore. It just comes to us through the API, and it sits in Team Dynamics.
It's a great question.
So the other interesting thing is that the vendors, agents, when they've got the student on the line, they can see all the other tickets that were created for them as well, so that they can have context to help answer that student's question better. And they actually just open up a little API and just look right into our Team Dynamics. It's really a sweet deal.
But we don't use Smart View anymore. Yes.
I have a question. We are Team Dynamics users, and we're not administrators, though we're just one of the little boxes. That's what we were seeing a minute ago. We're one of the little boxes with the two rows. But my question is you mentioned creating articles, and if we've not used that before, do you have to be an administrator to do that?
My student workers did it. Anita, I don't know the back end. Yeah, you tell them that.
So the way Team Dynamics is set up is with like 3 levels of users, unless you go to the universal license, and we've not done that. My ultimate goal is hopefully to have a site license, which I think some of you probably have. But you have a student license, it's just like half the cost, but it does everything that a staff's license does. It's just that they know that the students are only going to be part-time at best. So they give us a discount on that. And what they do is they just bring up well, go ahead and click over to an article and we'll show you. See off onto the right side, you can say edit an article. So they can either create a new article or edit one. So yes, you do have to have a Team Dynamics license, not the free client version, but a license to do that.
And it's WYSIWYG, so it's nice. You don't have to be a programmer to create your own articles.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So
Most people pick it up in about 10 minutes.
absolutely. One of the highlights also is that you can categorize these. So if I had questions about financial aid, but I didn't know what my question was, I mean, I knew but didn't know how to ask it, I could type in financial aid in a knowledge-based search, and it brings up all of the financial aid. Or if I were back on the knowledge base page, I could look at the categories here. And so, like, let's just click on parents real quick. These are some of the questions that parents frequently ask. So one-stop shop for parents here.
Yeah, that's a nice feature.
So within that, the reason I made a parents tab is now that I have control over our knowledge base. Prior to that, Anthology did. They hosted theirs for their agents, but also they mirrored it on our website. But I couldn't change anything. I could send them updates, but they controlled it. So now I can make things like a section just for parents. So when admissions is out recruiting, they can be like, here's questions that are just for you. And those those articles aren't new. I just took them from other sections and put them there together. So the categories and the grouping is really a nice function.
Yeah.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, well, I was gonna ask, is it possible to embed those articles to like the public website outside the portal?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I was thinking like with the dates and the reminder, you need to update every
Yep.
year and that automatically would show up, that would be nice. And then kind of going back to the legacy system to the new, I think I heard you say you had to set up the fields and values the same as they were in the old so that you can migrate that stuff all in. Is it possible to put all that in the archive section and then start fresh with the new going forward?
We started fresh. We didn't want the old stuff. I think we had about a week that we purposely quickly wrapped up every ticket we could, so almost no tickets were brought over. Now, do we have 400,000 archived tickets that we want to have our agents to reach back into? Yes, that'll be phase 3 project.
Yeah.
But we
Okay.
have not done that yet.
Oh,
Yep.
sorry, Erin. We're getting short on time here. I want to show and just point out the benefits of our dashboards, and I'll just breeze through it so we can answer a few more questions. So let me close this. One of the things that Erin's team did not have were multiple dashboards where they could create. Now, you can create dashboards on the One-Stop Ticketing app. That'll pull only one-stop tickets, which is completely fine if his team wants to put them there. And then, or you could do ticketing app. This is Wichita State's ticketing app where one-stop tickets cannot be reported on or shown in the dashboard. Analysis is where they go if they want to do combined reports. So what I've done is put together a few example dashboards. So here is a dashboard for all groups because Erin's team needs to keep an eye on all groups' tickets. Are there tickets that are older than 2 days that we need to ping people about? You know, how many tickets by group are open? You can add graphs and charts to each of these. I didn't, but that's nice. There's also knowledge base dashboards. You can create knowledge base reports and add those to your dashboards, and they're interactive. So if I want to get rid of all other and just see how many knowledge base articles are for general admissions, you know, I can do that. As Erin was talking about, there are review dates on knowledge base articles. So you can create a report to add to your dashboard that will say, hey, here's the KB articles that need to be reviewed and edited before the month end, which is really nice. Highest viewed articles I've got there, so we can keep track of that, and articles with unaddressed feedback, because the people who visit the articles, they can leave feedback. Was this helpful? Was it not? He can go in here and update the content or maybe change it completely based off of reports like this. Finally, I want to show you a combined dashboard. Let's use FinOps. They heavily use Team Dynamics in both apps, One-Stop and the ticketing app at Wichita State. So I just did a FinOps combined tickets, and this would be a report you would create an analysis because it is not ticketing app specific. And as you can see here, we've got one-stop cases. We have help. I have a problem for FinOps. We have also, here's a research business technology request. This allows them to view every ticket that's assigned to their team in one place, which is lovely.
They can also, interestingly enough, staff almost never gives feedback on our normal client portal, but I have been thrilled. Students love to hit that like button or I don't like it button. So we have a lot of feedback right away. So FinOps can go look at their articles and say, oh, we need to rewrite those too. We're getting a lot of negative comments.
Yep. And last but not least, I'll just point out Google Analytics in case some of you haven't used the Team Dynamix built-in connector to Google Analytics. It was so easy to set up. If anyone wants to do it because you don't have it, reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to help. But there's canned reports and everything in there. So as I had mentioned, these are current demographics. So active users, 988. Active users within the last 30 minutes, we've had 10. I love this demographical map that tells you how many users have been visiting from each location. Singapore, 187. There's a lot of Singapore people in Wichita State are looking at our site right now. It also shows engagement. Google Analytics engagement can be modified, to let you know how long somebody has been on your site, how many clicks they've made, what they've done. Maybe you could look for, I call them dead pages, but unused is probably a better word for it. If somebody hasn't visited a page for 3 months, do we need it? Is it outdated? Is it even helpful anymore?
So we're at time.
Yes.
Are there any last questions, or we'll hang around up here for a while if somebody wants to come talk to us? Is any last questions? Yes?
How do you convince other people that IT use Dynamix? Because team system and IT is pretty common, so how do you convince other?
That's why Jennifer and I refused to come by ourselves, and we had Aaron join us.
So that's a good question, because it was, the 14 different groups that we have, getting them on board. A couple of them, it was pretty easy, financial aid and financial operations, because they use it already pretty extensively on the back end, like just with IT. And the others were familiar enough just from, like, I don't know how your campus is structured. If we're having a new computer installed that goes through Team Dynamics, if we're getting anything we're doing, so people are at least aware of it. There were a couple of offices that I'm still working with that, in terms of the routing, but we had to move to something, and we didn't have time to search for a product, and this actually is much more dynamic. I will say, if you're working with people outside of IT, I would really focus on the reporting opportunities from a functional user standpoint, and as a manager, being able to manage all that, and the knowledge base, the articles, being able to control that. It brings that independence to campus instead of relying on someone off campus to do it. I think we're at time. So thank you for coming. We appreciate it. Any last words, Anita? No. All right. Well, thanks.